Welcome to the third and last day of our virtual Congress. Today, we have prepared for you a very interesting panel discussion on the role of innovation and science. During the last days, as you know, the seed sector is one of the most research-intensive sectors. Companies are investing 10 to 30% of their turnover in research and development. What will be the future landscape of innovation after COVID-19? In this session, we will explore different perspectives on the next chapter of innovation in seed. Speaking today will the Chief Technology Officer of Corteva Agriscience, Neal Gutterson, the Senior Vice President of BASF Vegetable Seeds and the Chairman of the ISF Vegetable and Ornamental Section, Vicente, Navarro, the CEO of Syngenta Seeds, Rowe, and in the live session we will hear from none other than the President of the Executive Board of Wageningen University, Dr. Luisa Fresco. She has also 10 years of her career spent at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN in Rome.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to folks, and thanks for the opportunity to talk a little bit about the innovation world, the state of innovation in the face of the COVID pandemic. So let me start with just a little reflection on the long cycle of development that we have in the ag world. It is a long development cycle to develop seed products and crop protection products and digital software tools for farmers. Our focus at Corteva, of course, is on serving the farmer, is on productivity on the farm. And of course, there's a connection to the stability of the resulting grain and produce distribution channels. What's remarkable, first of all, in this time is that the ability of farmers to produce is barely been impacted. It's an incredibly resilient industry and incredibly resilient set of customers that we serve. But the demand we've seen some very wild swings. And part of that's impacted by just the distribution channels. But the overall needs of farmers addressing diseases and pests, weather challenges, climate change, they're largely unchanged by the pandemic. But what has been revealed? Let me share one example to me, which is the issue of waste. The fact that the disruption in the distribution channel has made visible existing waste challenges, for example, in North America and Europe. And we came to understand at Corteva that, for example, a 10% reduction in demand for food service has resulted in only a 3% increase in demand for retail sales, and particularly for produce. And that says that some 2/3 of what's produced, the produce level for food service, likely ends up wasted in some fashion, either at the restaurant or it gets home, but doesn't even get eaten. And so we'll need to pay more attention as an industry to this issue of waste. And certainly the consumers that we serve are more aware of this, I think, than ever before. Another issue made visible, I believe, is the need for more sustainable production systems, more durable, more reliable, and more sustainable distribution systems, the entire supply chain. And so if anything, we have a renewed commitment to mitigating environmental impacts and driving towards environmental benefits through farming, with a renewed long look to the future of farming and the tools we can bring to that. So another issue around COVID to me is, what's the impact on the shorter term? Are we investing any differently as a company in this time? And, I'm sure we recognize that we can, of course, collaborate in new ways. We're certainly working differently. We're doing virtual field visits rather than necessarily going to the field and taking advantage of tools in ways we haven't before. We anticipated this a bit at our company, using some virtual tools earlier this year for a global R&D strategy jam for my organization. And so we're already getting comfortable with some of these digital tools, but the pace has accelerated in that change. We're a Zoom world, and sometimes I feel pretty Zoom exhausted by the end of the day, but it's working pretty well. So there's some short-term adaptations, but as I said earlier, we continue to commit and deliver on our longer-term goals. And a couple of examples of this. In late March, we announced a new collaboration with AgPlenus. That's the chemistry subsidiary of Evogene, the Israeli ag tech company. And that's focused on discovering new mode of action herbicides for improved weed control. Clearly, that is a long and durable need for our farmers. And so we continue to work and innovate in collaborations around the world. A second example is a very recently announced collaboration with M2I, a European company that focuses on pheromone solutions that we can now begin to bring to our farmer customers. New ways, new environmentally friendly ways of protecting our farmers' fields from pest damage from a range of insects, managing natural pest populations through pheromone mating disruption. So again, delivering on these long-term strategic needs that we have despite COVID. What's happened in the short term? Well, of course, we know that there's been a lot of disruption in driving, in transportation. And so the demand, of course, we've seen for petroleum products has gone down significantly. That's led to reduced pricing for petroleum. It's also led to reduced demand for ethanol in fuel. And that has an impact on global farming systems, whether it's for sugarcane in Latin America or for corn in North America. Because that cascades down to our customers with potentially impacts on acreage and on commodity pricing. And when our customers feel pain, we feel that pain too. And so we work with our customers to help them adapt to those changes. And the fluctuations are not ultimately that unusual. There's always something happening, whether it's weather and flooding or drought. So we're pretty used to these kinds of short-term disruptions and adaptation. Another aspect of learning from the experience of the pandemic is about the importance of disruption itself to our business. Not the short-term disruption I just mentioned, but the longer-term disruptive opportunities and threats for a business like ours and for our industry. And this industry, the ag industry, is going through what I would consider to be an unprecedented time of business model and technology-driven change. Whether that's climate change impacts, alternative plant proteins replacing animal proteins in meat, environmental pressures to reduce crop protection use rates, consumer demands for more sustainable agricultural systems. I mean, I could go on. We've mapped out a number of these potential disruptions. But I think what's interesting is this disruption maybe has alerted us to the importance of monitoring really closely and carefully the signals of disruptions coming, because we know that just before something hits us, really big, it's barely detectable. And that's true of the pandemic. When something's exponential in how it changes, you barely notice it, and right away you feel like something has come from nowhere. And so we need to be really even more closely monitoring signals of disruptions to come. And as Tom Friedman pointed out recently, there's no herd immunity for climate change. So climate change is another example where suddenly we're going to see something that just a few years before we thought isn't happening suddenly materialize, and there will be no easy way to adapt to that. So the signposts of change, disruption, these are areas I think that we'll be even better dealing with in the future. Another overriding impact, I think, is, and I hope, is that we have a greater conviction in the value of science and scientists across the world. We know that, and actually also the importance of our central governments. Central governments have been vital to the response to COVID. Science and scientists and technology has been vital to the response and adaptation to COVID, this global pandemic. And so we believe that there's a time now where we will see more value for science scientists and for what farmers can do as well. And the final perspective to add comes from our response to the pandemic, leveraging our world-class genomic capabilities in our Johnson, Iowa facility. We're testing for COVID today. We're part of the supply chain for COVID testing. And we went from an idea to within 4 weeks being up and running, delivering tests to one of the local large hospital systems. And that demonstration of agility and passion to deliver and support our community was just remarkable. But is reflective of the kind of agility and passion we bring to serve farmers as well. Overall, we're a resilient industry. Corteva is a resilient company. We'll continue to deliver the solutions our farmers need, simplifying their operations and enriching their lives in the future. So thanks. I look forward to the panel discussion.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vicente Navarro. I'm the Senior Vice President of BASF Vegetable Seeds, and today I'm going to share with you what my vision is from the company about how this pandemic crisis that we are suffering is going to impact innovation in our industry. First of all, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the world as we know it. People are living differently, are buying differently, and in many cases are also thinking differently. BASF vegetable seeds is part of the food system. We are at the beginning of the food system while the consumers are at the end. And we consider the consumers our final customers. And we realize that across the globe, those customers are looking at the products that we sell through different and fresh lens. The virus is reshaping the food industry in real time, accelerating long-term underlying trends in the space of weeks. Those new habits formed now will for sure endure beyond the crisis and will change permanently what we value, what we buy and where we buy it, but also how we live and how we work. The consumer decisions changing are basically can be clustered into three main areas. The first one is the value of healthy food. This crisis has really raised the value of food, has been recognized as a main source for strengthening the immune system. The second one is sustainability. Consumers are more mindful of what they are buying. They are here for safe food, striving to limit food waste. They are more conscious about what they buy, the cost, and they are looking for sustainable solutions. In most of the cases, even more looking for local buying. And last but not least, digital commerce. Also seen a boost as new consumers that never had been involved in that before, they are moving from grocery to online shopping. And this is likely to sustain post-outbreak. However, we also see that many people also are more concerned about the economic crisis than about the pandemic crisis. And we have to learn from the past. And if we look what happens in the 2008 crisis, we realized that products that were perceived as expensive, like fresh products or even organics, they had a decrease on the consumption because of the lower income of many families to get access to them. It's still to see what the economical impact will be and the counterbalance of what I mentioned before. But anyhow, what will be for sure is the consumer want to change for the better. They recognize the cleaner air, they recognize the value of food, they recognize the increase of the wildlife and stronger communities. On the supply chain, you have after us as a supplier, the growers. And the impact of the crisis on the growers can be summarized in two aspects. The first one is related to the supply chain those growers are connected to. If they are connected to the food service that accounts for 20% of the fruits and veggies worldwide, they have been reduced drastically their activities. The HoReCa channel has been shut down completely. And even if those growers, they try to move into the retailer supply chain, not has been possible in any case. On the contrary, the growers, they have been historically connected to the supply chain through their retailers. They experimented an increase on the demand, as has been done by retailers as well. And the second big impact for the grower has been related to access to labor. For the first time, many crops had difficulties to be harvested. I want to mention, for instance, asparagus here in the north of Europe, where the growers, most of the growers, they are not even able to harvest because of the lack of labor. In many countries, governments organize massive labor transfer towards the primary sector. For sure, that will have consequences in our industry, and the main one will be the rise and the demand for automation will for sure increase. When our growers, our customers, and the consumer are changing, we as an industry, we need as well to change. But what is really interesting is that, like never before, we are reminded of the critical nature of our industry. The world's population needs nutrition, and even with quarantines and social distancing, people need to eat. The access to food supply is essential, and our customer needs our help to feed the world. We are very proud as a BASF vegetable seed to be part of a strong food system and committing to providing food even during challenging times Every day, around 600 million people eat the products that they are coming from our seeds somewhere in the world. What is the solution for that? I do believe that science is part of the solution, need to be part of the solution. It's not the problem, but the solution. And we need to integrate the growers and the consumer needs into our innovation processes to deliver appropriate solutions. Genetic technologies and digitalization are big contributors to that. And here we are confronted with the acceptance of the technologies by the society. People are embracing digital technologies more than ever to support consequences of isolation at home because as proof value. And I think we need to do that. We need to prove the value as well to deliver healthier and sustainable products to the society. How to do that? If we take the three main topics, health, we probably need to face a higher demand for a plant-based and healthier diet. Health is the main driver of moving from animal to plant-based diet. Therefore, having a health strategy will be a strategic differentiator in the future. As a company, BASF Vegetable Seeds has an aspiration, which is to make healthy eating enjoyable and sustainable for people, for partners, and for planet. And this aspiration has never been so actual. And it's not only communicating better the benefits of veggies, but also incorporate in our breeding programs the healthy compounds and to breed for much healthy products in the future. The second group is about sustainability. And the solution for the crisis must be based on all the aspects of sustainability. That's clear. Companies need to base the business decisions on that. But also society need to reconsider the societal acceptance of genetic technologies, because without them, that will be very difficult to maximize yield, secure productions, and reduce food waste. And even when supply chains have been tested, production diversification is a key. Many countries realize that they have more difficulties now to get access to the products. Therefore, it's an opportunity for local productions, increase in the case protected crops. The last one is about digital technologies. Digital technologies are fostering automatic crop production at a pace that has never seen before. With captured data with the help of sensors, we can automate cropping, including harvesting, in protected and open field crops, and reduce the risk of sanitary outbreaks as well. To do that, collaboration with strategic partners is very essential to improve time to value, to get access to the needed knowledge, but also to create new portfolios that can be accepted by the customers. At the end, how is this going to affect us as a company in relation to innovation? We remain committed to our strategy, despite the financial consequences of the COVID. BASF Vegetable Seeds will increase R&D expenditure in the coming years, focusing on the new strategy to address the food chain challenges, focusing on health, partnership in digitalization and sustainability. And we will also increase collaboration with external partners because we cannot do everything ourselves. I would like to mention as an example the recently signed agreement with Brylands Campus Greenport in Venlo, with Maastricht University and the local government of Limburg. As an example, this collaboration will focus on healthy and safe nutrition, future farming, and biocircular economy. All of that to deliver our mission, which is to develop the best performing consumer-oriented vegetable solutions in collaboration with our partners and customers in the industry.
During this COVID-19 pandemic, the rallying cry for the agriculture industry and the world's farmers is, don't let this health crisis become a hunger crisis. And while the hunger crisis remains in some parts of the world, I'm so proud of the work our industry, including all of our employees and farmers, have done to continue to safely feed our planet. For the first time in my lifetime, the general population, usually so remote from the realities of food production, understands that farmers and everyone involved in the food value chain are essential workers. Unfortunately, we've also seen some other firsts during this crisis, like empty shelves in the grocery store, some food being rationed, and millions of people who have lost their jobs, now struggling to feed their families. At the same time, tragically, some growers are forced to destroy their produce and euthanize livestock because processing facilities have been severely impacted by the virus. And yet, we still do not hear enough from the mainstream media about how critically important and sophisticated our industry is. I talk to many people around the world that still have a very dated and inaccurate view of farming. It's clear that while people increasingly care about the safety and reliability of their food, they know very little about where their food actually comes from. But this global crisis has also taught us many lessons. One relevant to our panel discussion today is that our food supply is not a given. Unfortunately, this is a lesson that millions of people in the developing world know all too well. Having access to high-quality seed to plant really does matter. Having access to safe and reliable crop protection systems really does matter. And farmers and the millions of people working in the food supply chain and grocery stores really do matter. And when crops fail in the developing world, lives are ruined or lost. And the reality is that without technology advancements like molecular breeding, biotechnology, robust crop protection, millions in our developed world would not have enough food to eat either. As an industry, we know that we need to not just produce enough, although we will need to feed 2 billion more people. We need quality nutrition, and we need to produce it in a way that is kinder to the planet. So more food, more nutrition, more environmentally friendly, that's a lot to do, and we need to use all the technology available to us. And we need a regulatory system that enables us to innovate safely for the planet and for the billions of lives we sustain. As we discuss the importance of technology and innovation to improve our food system, and as people experience a moment of fear of what food insecurity could feel like, this will help us to have more informed and better discussions about technology and agriculture. Because making sure we have enough nutrition for everyone is as important as keeping people safe from a virus like COVID-19. To enable our industry to produce enough nutritious food in more sustainable ways, we have to do a better job at telling our story, highlighting how technologies like GMO and gene editing can improve nutrition and protect our natural resources, how it enables us to reduce greenhouse gases and improve the quality of our soil, and how today millions of people still go to bed hungry. The lessons from coronavirus for the future of innovation in agriculture are: first, when the world feels a collective threat, we are able to rapidly mobilize research, global collaboration, and an investment on an unprecedented scale. Second, a portion of the population turns to science as a trusted source of truth and hope. And third, a portion of the population clearly does not trust science. There's a rather clear divide in the world, which can be extremely dangerous. As professionals who work in this critical science-based seeds industry, we have a responsibility to listen to the concerns and tell our story in a more effective way. We must do more than recognize the threat of the anti-science voices. We need to fight it. This is crucial in public dialogue and perhaps even more important in the global regulatory systems. With so many lives at stake, regulations must be science-based. Agriculture has been evolving for thousands of years. I'm convinced we are on the verge of the next big shift in agriculture, bringing together the best minds from multiple industries to solve some of our planet's most important challenges. We are bringing data science and digital to plant breeding and farm management. There are exciting new developments in biologicals and significant advancements in precision crop protection. We must engage the public better. We must tell our story in a more compelling way. Anti-science is dangerous because if it holds us back, we risk losing the opportunity we have to improve the lives not just of farmers, but of everyone on the planet. We won't convince everyone, but we must be the ones driving the debate. Thank you.
There you have it. You've heard the insights of industry leaders on re-examining innovation and reaping the benefits of science. I'm sure you'd love to share your thoughts on this very interesting topic as well. So I'd like to invite you now to our live panel discussion, where we're going to be joined by the 3 previous speakers, as well as the president of Wageningen University, Dr. Luis Fresco. That is a conversation that is surely not to be missed. So please do join us in the next session by clicking on the live session right after this. See you there.